Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today, sitting down to talk about the first ever Xbox and Bethesda Developer Direct. For those who have been, under a rock or something, this is the brand new showcase format presented by Xbox to give us more intermittent updates on what's happening in the ecosystem instead of us waiting for the major beats like E3 season around June or the Game Awards around December, and then sometimes things like Gamescom or as of late, Tokyo Game Show. Xbox has been having a presence at all these major shows, but they definitely needed their own state of play, their own Nintendo Direct as their ecosystem grows, right? You take a good hard look at how they're investing in exclusives, day one Game Pass deals, and they're even doing big studio acquisitions like currently Activision Blizzard. And if all these teams are under the fold, these big showcases simply won't be enough. So you need something for the in-between. We got to look at that today, and I have some thoughts that are mostly positive. So we're going to get into it from two angles. Angle one being the format, the presentation, the feel of the actual product, and how it can be utilized by Xbox as a tool moving forward. The other angle is going to be how we would typically talk about these showcases, the games, what was there, and how Matty was feeling about them. We're not going to go in a specific order because, quite frankly, I thought they started with the weakest stuff and ended with the strongest stuff for the most part. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you are new here and you're into Xbox news, information, discussions, you're in the right place. Consider subscribing. Let's start off with the good news. We have games coming in the first half of the year. This is something Xbox fans haven't enjoyed in a long while. One of the big goals I felt Xbox should have had with this event is to deliver as many release dates as possible. And boy, did they ever. There was one missing in particular, being Forza Motorsport. That one I'm going to put a big red question mark on. I think out of everything coming into this event next to Minecraft Legends, I felt the most confident that Forza Motorsport was going to get dated. This felt like an obvious April, May style game, possibly even sooner. And to see that it just said 2023.
In fairness, and in the spirit of speculation, the G does kind of look like a 6 here, like coming 6/2023, which is a plausible window for it. But if not,
I don't know, man. That one was sounding off some alarms because everything else promised in the first half got dated. Everything. So Forza not being dated, I felt almost signal boosted something that they were probably not hoping would get more attention. I'm just hoping that maybe they feel like maybe it's going to hit June, maybe it's going to hit May, it might slip deeper into the summer. I'm just hoping it's not a significant delay though. But that was kind of the big red flag. But otherwise, they delivered release dates in spades and even shadow dropped a game, which personally to me, Hi-Fi Rush is the best looking game out of everything that was shown here during the Xbox Developer Direct. Did it have that surprise factor? Yes, certainly. But I didn't expect Tango Gameworks to show up at all. I thought it'd be a while after Ghostwire Tokyo just dropped. I didn't expect it to be an action game. I didn't expect it to be a rhythm game. I didn't expect it to be an anime style game. There was so much about this I didn't expect, and it looks awesome. I'm going, just sign me up. When? They go, tonight. What? Absolutely incredible. That is the tone setter. That was the mic drop moment where I went like, okay, this pushes this event over the top for the first one. I don't know if that's something we should expect moving forward, but I think it was a wise strategic move because you can't argue with just getting something awesome looking the day of the show. A great shadow drop, and I personally can't wait to dive into it tonight. I'm definitely going to look into reviewing it for the channel, but I mean, it looks fantastic. So I can't wait to get my hands on it and see what it's all about. Hopefully it's as good as the trailers. But in the terms of format, good balance between developer commentary and gameplay for the most part. There were stretches during Minecraft Legends in the early going where I felt it was more of a sizzle reel than just showing us the game. Even something like Redfall, which I understand back in June of last year, we got a nice 6-minute showing pretty straight up of it. But I felt like even during that, which was the big one of the show, it was very much bouncing around a lot. I wanted to see more sustained, long-form gameplay. Maybe I was approaching it a bit differently, but it felt like we were flipping around way too much for me to get any details about the game, truly. It was more about what they were saying rather than what I was seeing in context with what was being said. So I do feel like on that front, given that they're going to go for 43 minutes, we could use a little bit more there. But in the terms of length versus what you get less in the terms of games. Like this is the average length of maybe your standard Nintendo Direct. but you get more deep dives. I personally prefer that, but it can be particularly agonizing for some out there if it's a game you're not interested in. And that's where I can see this kind of going south for Xbox, right? They really dug deep into everything without discrimination, right? So they dug deep into Minecraft Legends as much as Forza, as much as Redfall, as much as Hi-Fi Rush. Everything got a lot of time on screen. The only one that was pretty quick and almost felt unnecessary to a degree was Elder Scrolls Online. And I'll talk about all these individually and the hows and what's of it in a moment. But in the terms of format, I like it. I really do. I think this is going to be great for us to see these upcoming Xbox games, and I'm curious how they're going to actually use it moving forward, how flexible they're going to be. Will it be a place you can show off day one Game Pass games? Can they expand into that territory, or is this just the Xbox exclusive family showing? That's where I'm curious how they're going to bend things, but I imagine they want this to show up more often than not. Given the production quality, the in-studio shots, I can't imagine them really showing these super often, but I could be wrong. But they had so many B-roll shots that involved them flying at the studios, getting camera teams, setting up lighting kits. I was like, wow, this was kind of over the top when you look at how long it takes for us to get a State of Play, how long it takes for us to get a Nintendo Direct, and it's just trailers for the most part with a guy doing a voiceover. That's really it. And occasionally a figurehead from the companies or the respective studios. I found that to be an interesting aspect, and it had me check my expectations a bit on just how often we may see this. But that's my overall thoughts on the format. They set the tone pretty well here. We now know there is a surprise factor to it. They promised us 4 games. They said, hey, keep your expectations in check, and they show up with 5 games. I'm starting to get a feel for Xbox's rhythm on that. It seems to be a thing. Hey, check your expectations. Oh, by the way, surprise, surprise. Under promise, over deliver, as they say. So with that, let's get into each of the games. Like I said, I'm not going to go in the order that the show went in, which was Minecraft, Forza, Hi-Fi Rush, ZeniMax Online Studios, and Redfall. I'm going to start off with what I thought was most interesting and just kind of go in that descending order. So game number 1, Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah, there was that surprise factor, as I said, but this looks really good. So you're playing as this character named Chai who has a music player in his chest powering up his robot arm. He's a wannabe rock star. And this is a rhythm action game with comic book, anime, art style, if you will, whichever you want to lean into is up to you. This doesn't look like your traditional Xbox game, and that's what I love about it. This is what we've been asking for, and also, subtly, this was the hope when Xbox got Tango Gameworks. Of course, the survival horror is what they're known for. I adore The Evil Within 1. Not too as much, and I honestly haven't gotten into Ghostwire Tokyo as much as I really do want to. I just completely missed the boat on that. But who had it on their bingo cards in 2023 that we would get Hi-Fi Rush or a Tango game before Xbox got Ghostwire Tokyo? That's insane. But otherwise, this doesn't look like your traditional Xbox game. It's not your standard Forza. It's not your standard Gears, Halo. It's something entirely different. This is what we want. And I was so happy to see this. And to shadow drop it too, I think is a gutsy move. This was something I thought, at least from the outside looking in, I don't know how dense this game is, if there's a ton of content or not. But this to me screamed like we should market this, we should push this a little bit. But they just said we're dropping it tonight and it's on Game Pass. So I'm there. I'm going to check it out as soon as possible. But this was a pleasant surprise. You saw 3D platforming elements, a completely different vibe from their survival horror games as you jump, dodge, parry, and zip to enemies. And you have teammates that can help you throughout combat and exploration. And then there are these beam hits and boss encounters that have special guitar-based mini games that let you deal devastating damage. This game, like, I'm not super into rhythm games. The only one I can think of that I really love is Persona 4 Dancing All Night. Like, not just only a banger soundtrack, but a surprisingly good story. But this had the surprise factor, but it really did truly have excellent looking gameplay. And the DMC style rank of your combos, I'm interested. I don't know how this will turn out when we play it and see how it is, but I was so pleasantly surprised by this from all angles. It looks great. It doesn't look like your typical Xbox game. I think it sends a strong message to the audience about what you can expect. I think it shows that Xbox isn't afraid to support these Japanese games, put them on Game Pass. Like, from messaging to showcasing to the time they gave it, everything was beautiful about Hi-Fi Rush. Really, really like what I saw there. Next, surprise, surprise, Redfall. Yeah, Redfall was like my second most liked thing during the show. That's not maybe saying much because the rest of the competition now is Elder Scrolls Online, Forza Motorsport, and Minecraft Legends. But you may know I've kind of been poo-pooing Redfall ever so slightly. This looked solid. I think I've just got to come around to what it is. I saw a lot of interior exploration, which means a lot to me in arcane games. So to see that here on full display, that was probably my favorite part. There was a little bit of environmental interactivity, a ton of environmental storytelling. So I feel like those elements are going to be strong here. That's the thing I was most scared about losing as they transitioned into open world, more action focused gameplay. I feel like they still put the focus on the action in the demo, even though they went, you can play any way you want. And they show like one stealth pistol shot, no stealth abilities outside of cloaking one time. And that was really it from my memory. I was hoping to see a lot more stealth gameplay, but I understand that's not really that marketable. So I get it, but I am coming around to it a little bit. I do have my hesitations about how very Far Cry-y it looks, but the diversity of weapons here was fantastic. They showed off a lot of the content loop here, which is side quests like saving survivors to invading vampire nests and taking back these neighborhoods beat by beat and then fighting the underboss. And when you do that, you're eventually going to gain a skull and unlock your way to fighting the vampire gods. But as you're taking out other vampires, they send what's called the Rook after you. What this conveyed to me is less of like what content will actually be in the game and how the beat for beat gameplay loop is going to be, but rather how dynamic the world's going to be. You know, the taking back of neighborhoods, the surprise events that are happening, the Rook coming after you, the different enemy types like the Shroud Vampire that blankets the area in darkness. That type of stuff goes a long way, I feel, in changing up each and every encounter. And I think when it all comes together and you're playing it, that's when it will take an identity on of its own. And I think I will truly turn the corner on Redfall. At least now I'm in a more optimistic point of view rather than like, oh God, I don't know. It doesn't look like my Dishonored. Doesn't look like my Prey. It still doesn't, but it looks fun. And I think that's priority number one with a game. It doesn't have to be those games. I just need it to have elements from those games. And it looks like it does. Does it have it in spades? I'll have to play the game to find out if I can pick up and interact with every little thing. But we'll see in due time because they confirmed that's coming out May 2nd. So this was leaked ahead of the developer direct, unfortunately. Multiple times we heard a May release date the first 2 weeks, and it got confirmed by Just Cord. And then just this week we heard a May 2nd release date. So it was pretty firmed up that it was aiming for May. This is probably the big one in the first half. If you were to ask me for Xbox, this is the one that I think they should really push in the terms of marketing, really get behind it, because it does look like the one that will speak to the masses the most. But also, like, I want to see Arcane have a true big deal win. Like I think they have on the review system, whether it was Dishonored, Prey, or most importantly, I'd say Deathloop was the most like, oh my God, 10s everywhere. But I really want to see them have a win financially and player base wise, and I'm hoping Redfall is that for them, just given how much I love that team, man. But after that, I gotta say, this one also may surprise you. Forza Motorsport. This looks great, and I didn't expect to feel that way entirely. I know when I first saw it, I thought, I think I'm gonna be more excited about this than Horizon. To me, Horizon is fun, it's great, it's accessible, but I want to try a true Forza career mode and just take that deep dive, like put myself in a real uncomfortable area where I'm completely lacking any form of knowledge and just see how it goes. And they talked a bit about this career mode and how it's around building your own car. I'm interested to see what that is. They talked about a new online mode, but they didn't show that off. Maybe that's stuff that we see in the Forza Monthly. I think that's the also casualty. I think that's the casualty of this event. We had the Elder Scrolls Online Global Reveal event. We had the Forza Monthly all within a day of this developer direct. I think that's strong for the brand. I think as a viewer, it kind of siphons away some of that information that we could get. I don't think they spared too much when it came to Forza Motorsport. I think mostly we got what we came for. They talked about, for example, 500 cars at launch, more than 800 unique upgrades, the most modern race cars in a Forza Motorsport ever. They rebuilt every audio system. They claimed that the physics of the last handful of Forza games combined is not as good as what is found in this newest iteration. They talked about 20 environments, 5 new ones to Forza Motorsport, including South Africa for the first time. But the big question mark is the release date. I am very surprised by this one. This felt like the slam dunk. They went from spring 2023 to just 2023. And I know where people's heads are going to go. What does that mean for Starfield? It wasn't even here. We'll have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see. I don't want to hit the panic button on anything right now. There's so many rumors floating when it comes to Starfield. I've, again, even been a part of those, but I know where people's heads are going to go. I completely understand the concern here, because if Starfield misses the first half and Forza misses the first half, you know, most of the games that Xbox promised to deliver within the next 12 months did hit, and that is awesome to see. But when you look at two of your biggest ones from your own family possibly not hitting that, and, you know, right now we're in January. We'll see. We still have yet to see that Starfield developer direct, but we're going to have to just, you know, stay a little bit patient on this one and see how it develops. But right now, it is a bit of a nerve-wracking look, because I think it could speak to the overall brand. Once we have a better idea of where Starfield is at, I will feel a lot more reactive about where these two games are. If it's just Forza out of the window, I'm not going to pretend to be so disheartened by it. I'm not a big racing game fan at the end of the day. But if both Forza and Starfield see some type of delay, we can have that conversation then. But otherwise, Forza Motorsport looks good. I mean, I don't know how to go into detail on it. It looks like a fun racing game. I'm very keen on this career mode. I like the sound of a ton of unlockables. I love the fidelity of the game. They really seem to have gone all out on it. So it looks like a finely crafted game, and I am excited to give it a whirl, or rather take it for a spin, I should say, and see if I develop that Forza addiction that I see so many people online have. After that, I'd like to talk about Minecraft Legends. Doesn't look bad, but as I've said in previous videos, Minecraft is kind of just lost its luster with me. I'm not super into it. This game, I thought, kind of skimmed the surface the most, which is strange, because outside of Hi-Fi Rush, this was coming the soonest in April, specifically April 18th of this year. They talked about the online co-op campaign, the cross-platform play for PvP, and how the worlds that you play in for PvP, as well as the single player, are going to be procedurally generated. And as you go into PvP, you're going to play as teams, collecting resources, building defenses, and fighting against each other in your respective strongholds. It looks like a fun time. I just don't think that Blackbird and Mojang did a good job conveying what was happening, because they were flipping back and forth an insane amount on the developers and the gameplay. And I'm just like, I just want to see a stretch of gameplay. Like, what the hell is happening here? But they never really just paused, show the game for a stretch of time. It's just like, man, come on. I want to see this game running and what's actually happening here. They showed off base building, though, which did look cool. That felt like a good stretch of gameplay, but I felt like maybe just seeing like a quick preview of a match would have been fun. Maybe they thought it was too stagnant. I don't know, because these types of games take a while to build up, right? We're talking about like RTSs effectively. But Minecraft Legends looks solid. It's coming out pretty soon, 3 months from now, April 18th, 2023. Not bad. The worst showing, hands down, was ZeniMax Online Studios. This felt like an ad entirely. And that's disheartening to say, because I think Elder Scrolls Online for a while got a bad rap. I was one of the people who defended the game for a while. I was coming out saying like, no, this game isn't as bad as you say. And it eventually gained popularity. It took some time. So I was really hoping they'd come out strong. And Necrom, it's coming, and it's coming in June. And we're going to have a new playable class. And if you want to learn more, check out the global reveal event. But otherwise, by the way, this is a great time to hop in and play. If you haven't played, please try it out. It had that energy, those types of statements where I'm like, you don't just tell people to go play the game. Like, I think the game sells itself. I think the game is fantastic. But for those who haven't tried it, you got to compel them and be like, and here's why you should start now. Like, here's Necrom, not, by the way, this game that you probably have known about for 8 years at this point in time. You should try it now. And if you on the off chance seem mildly interested, we have this global reveal event after the event that we're doing now to soak up stage time. And, you should come check that out to learn more. What? Just show stuff here. That was strange to me. And again, that's what I mean by being a casualty of nearby events. The Forza Monthly, the Elder Scrolls Online global reveal event. I get why they want to do their own things, but like, you're there on a big platform, first time show. Felt like the chance to pull the trigger and bring some players to your games. But in the respect of Elder Scrolls Online, they seem to have held back a little bit. So that's everything that we saw at the Developer Direct. Overall, like I said, the format, solid. Definitely see a future in this one. Concerns, Forza and potentially just going overboard on the sizzle reel style editing. I'd like to see more straight up gameplay. Otherwise, big surprise was welcome in the name of Hi-Fi Rush. Redfall looks pretty solid. I hope there's a, if you will, sexier game lineup next time. Of course, we know that there's the planned Starfield Developer Direct. I think that will be a fantastic time. I cannot wait for that. Who knows when that will be? But otherwise, good showing. Happy to see games dropping in the first half, and we'll see how this discussion evolves over time. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I leave it in your hands. Again, what did you think about Xbox's Developer Direct? Please do fire away in the comments down below. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the hell out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.